How much of a sigh of relief will hedge funds be breathing today, Jesse, and what's the path forward?
Well, look, it's an important step for the hedge funds because as long as what's known as the net worth sweep was in place, they were never going to get their hands on the money that was the massive billions of dollars in profits that Fannie and Freddie were making. That's all been required to go to the Treasury. Every quarterly profit those companies make since 2012, they've been required to send that money to the Treasury. Hedge funds understand that these companies need more capital. They're in their current state, they're in no position to be able to endure losses. But the hedge funds would like some of the company's profits, their argument being that we are big shareholders in these companies. We should be getting the dividends, not the U.S. government.
Jesse, we're almost a year away from the election. How much of the change in the structure of these businesses will happen by then? And will the Democrats treat them differently?
Democrats will absolutely treat them differently. I mean, take Fannie and Freddie out of it. It's hard to see Elizabeth Warren or probably even Joe Biden wanting to pursue a policy that enriches hedge funds. You sometimes think with Liz Warren, she would intentionally do anything to not enrich hedge funds. That aside, Democrats think that these companies should have strong affordable housing mandates. They should be helping lower income borrowers get homes. The current Mnuchin Treasury Department say they're not opposed to that, but they're not as vocal in sort of pushing that as a motive. Whether Mnuchin and Mark Calabria at the FHFA can actually get these companies out of federal control by the November 2020 election, I think it's pretty unlikely. I think, Steve Mnuchin would tell you himself that it's pretty unlikely. There's so much that really has to happen besides allowing them to build up their capital buffers to get to that point.
So I spoke with FHFA Director Mark Calabria earlier this month, Jesse, and asked him about when Fannie and Freddie would need to raise private capital. Let's have a listen to his answer.
The first thing I think we need to do is start to retain capital, and I think we'll have to have a number of months of retaining earnings, so 6 months to a year of retaining earnings to show that track record and to build up that cushion before they can go to market. So again, emphasizing process-driven, not calendar-driven. I think the earliest you could see going to the market would be the fourth quarter 2020, but 2021 is more likely the case. But I really do want to emphasize a lot of things need to be done before we can get to that point.
So it sounds like we still have a long ways to go, Jesse, maybe even, 2021 before this private capital raised. Dick Beauvais today sort of throwing water on the whole thing and saying common shares are, quote, impossible to value.
Well, I don't know that they're impossible to value. They do trade every day, and they've gone up quite a lot this year. Look, there is optimism that the Trump administration wants to do things with these companies. We kind of had a decade-long process of purgatory. And I mean, these companies, they're so volatile, their stocks. I mean, you could even argue that a strong wind can push them around. And every utterance that comes out of a Trump administration official's mouth about, the urgency, the desire to get them out of federal control, you routinely have big days where the stocks are up just based on those comments. So this is another day. I looked a few minutes ago, the stock was up. It's a sign, it's a symbolic sign that they are making progress, which that's important to people.